So this is the back and the front. So I'll use this and also cut lining. But while cutting the lining, I'll be reducing this. Remember the 2 inches that I added? I'll be reducing it from the lining. So the lining will be shorter so that I will fold it in. So this is the lining and this is the fabric. I've cut for each one, both the back piece and the front piece. So to sew this is not hard. I'll start by placing this. This is the front of the fabric, the front here. This is the front. So I'll place the lining this way. You can choose to cut facing and use a hemming gun to do the lower part of the dress without having to line it fully. It is your choice. But I want to line this. So if you were to cut a facing, just cut a facing slightly below the armhole point, and then you use a hemming gun to finish up this one. But I want to line it. So I'll take this to the machine, of course, and sew the neckline using 1/4 of an inch, after which I will notch it and top stitch. Do it to the front piece and do the same to the back piece. Lining to fabric, sew the neckline, top stitch and notch and top stitch. So done with the neckline. Even though I'm yet to iron it, I've notched and top stitch. But what I will do next is to unpin this and show you. So this is the front. I'm going to turn it out like this. So this is the front, and I'm going to take this to the machine and sew. I'm going to join it like this, join it. So this is it here. I've joined it at the edge. So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to sew without turning it out. I'm going to sew this from here down, cover it down to the armhole point. Okay, after that I'll turn it out using the armhole. So here I have lined all. This is the front piece, the 2 pieces for the back. I have lined all. I am yet to iron it, but this is what it looks like. So the next thing to do will be to join the shoulders. So I will take, this is the front piece like this, and this is the back piece, the one that is meant to be here. So I will take this to the machine and join this shoulder. So I'll take this to the machine and join it here at the shoulder. Sew it down. Do the same thing to the other side. Join it at the shoulder. Fabric to fabric and lining to lining. I'll sew it all the way down. So I'll do that quickly. So this is what the dress looks like after ironing. And what I will do next is to finish up the dress. I'll start by closing up the armhole. And how will I do that? I will open up some inches below the armhole that I've already sewn. I'll open up some inches, about 2 inches on both sides of the front piece, just below the armhole. And then after closing up the armhole on the inside, I'll use that 2 inches to turn it out, and then I'll sew that one closed, because that is because I don't want to leave any part open. If you want to leave any part of the dress open, it shouldn't even be the armhole. Maybe the sides of the dress, you can weave it. So I'll do that. And after that, I will join the dress using the sewing allowance left on both the front piece and the back piece. I will join it using the sewing allowance, and then I will attach a zipper. I will just finish up the dress and show you how to attach the petal. So I finished the armhole, and I've also attached the zipper and joined the sides. Even though I have not ironed it, I will do that later. But I just want to show you, I'll be using this fabric here. I'm using this satin fabric to make like 3 flowers or petals in the front here, as seen on the thumbnail. So I will show you how to cut that now quickly. So to get the exact kind of petals that was used for the dress, I have this paper to show you how to achieve it. I'm going to place it on fold. I'm going to place it on fold. So the thing about sewing is that you can always create your own style. So but I want to show you exactly what was done in that particular dress on the thumbnail. So this paper I'll place on fold, and I'll measure out the length of my petals. The length of the petals I'll be using is 4.5. If you're making this for an adult, definitely not 4.5, because the size of the, or whatever, the measurement in the front of the dress will be bigger, so you are going to make a longer length of petals. So but for this particular measurement, I'll be using 4.5 inches, which I'll mark. And I'll be using 1.25 inches here. By the time I take in 1/4 inch on both sides, I'll be left with 2 inches in total. Remember, it's on fold, and when you unfold, it's 2 inches. I'll measure 2 inches here. I'll measure 2 inches here, and I'll measure 3 inches here, depending on the length of your petals. Okay, 2 inches and 3 inches, and then I'll come here and I'll measure 1 inch, 1 inch, and I'll measure 3/4 of an inch here, measure 3/4 of an inch here. So I'm not going to curve from here. The one I used for the dress, I curved from here direct, making this a sharp edge. But no, I am going to curve from here. No, 3/4 of an inch. Sorry, 3/4 of an inch will be perfect. 3/4 of an inch. That is here. So I'm going to curve from here to here. Can you see? I don't see, just follow the line and then curve it from 3/4 of an inch. And then when you get to the 2 inches point, you also connect it to this. So by the time you open it up, it's still like curved here instead of being pointed. So by the time you sew in like, by the time you sew in like 1/4 of an inch here, you sew it like this, sew it like this, and then when you're attaching the petals, when you're joining the petals, you can just hold it this way. Whatever thing that is left, hold it. Hold the other petal, hold all 6 of them like this. Just pleat it, just one pleat, and then join all 6 of them and attach it using a hand needle or a sewing machine. So you're going to cut 2 pieces of this for each one. So depending on the number you want, if you want to make 5, you're going to cut 30. If you want to make 6, you're going to cut more than 30. Just do the math. I think 2 times 6 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. So if you're going to make 5, then you're going to be cutting 30 pieces. So choose whatever amount you want, cut it, and you can make it longer, your choice. Remember that if you're making this for somebody that is like 3 years old, the front of her dress will be smaller than what you will get when you measure what you're making for a 5-year-old. So the length of your petals will be determined by what you have in front of your dress, or just what you want to put in front of your dress. Okay, so the length of my own petals, I'll be using 4.5 inches. And I'm supposed to do that on fold. So let me fold this. 4.5 inches on fold. Do not forget. So 4.5. I'll be measuring 1.5 here. Or maybe let me make it 1.25. 1.25. So that by the time I take 1 inch on both sides, I'll be left with 1 inch, a total of 2 inches. So 1.25. So I'll measure 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll come here and I'll measure, get the midpoint of this 4.5. That is 2 1/4, 2 1/4 here. So I'll connect from this 2 1/4 to this point here, and then from here to here. So from here to here and here to here. So just this way. So I'll place this on fabric and cut out. If your petal is longer than 8 inches, make sure to add interfacing to give the fabric strength. You place this in between the satin and sew it together so that it will give the fabric hold. Okay, but because I'm making a short length of petal like this length, I don't need facing to hold this, so I'm just going to place this on fabric and cut out. So I ended up with 6 for each one. What I'm going to do is to join all 6 together. I will join 6. I use my sewing machine. You can actually use your hand needle and thread to do this. Just attach it like this. 3. So you're going to attach it like this and sew it all the way around. You can also use hand needle to do that. You can use your hand needle and thread to do that, or you can sew on the machine. Any which way that is easy for you, just do it. So I'm trying to round up the tutorial today. That's why I couldn't wait to iron this before joining it. But normally you should iron each of these before joining together. But I use a piece of fabric to cover the rough edge. So I'm going to attach this to the dress. I haven't ironed the dress as well, but I will just show you how to attach it. So it will be attached here like this, just with hand needle and thread. So I will attach it to the dress, and after that I will use this. I will attach this to this to cover up this and also beautify it. So you can use a gum or sew it onto the fabric anyhow you want. Just attach it. So that is what is left to do. I will just attach this and I'll show you what the dress looks like. So this is the finished look of the dress. All that is left now is to iron it properly. But this is how it looks like though. This is how it looks like. This is how it is supposed to look like. So you can attach interfacing to your petals so they stand more. Iron it in between the satin and, you know, attach it to the dress. It will make it stand. And this is the back. Can you see the hip? It's a very short dress and make it like that so that you can see the beauty. So all that is left is just for me to iron it properly. which I'll do later on. But this is the finished look of the dress, and I hope you learned something from this video. Do not forget to drop a comment if you have any question, like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and please turn on the notification bell so you get to know whenever I have a new video. Thank you for watching up till now, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye.